I think if we're pursuing a calm business, we can't have businesses that have a financial engine that just isn't working well. You're just in your business and you're cranking and cranking and cranking, and eventually you can get it going, but then the next day you have to wake up and you have to crank that engine again, and the next day you have to wake up and crank that engine again. In the past few months, I've been thinking a lot about the financial engine that drives a business and how important it is, especially for entrepreneurs who are starting a small business to give themselves a better life.
The mortgage on his house is on its way to being paid, and someday it undoubtedly will be.
Let me start off by defining what a financial engine for a business is. So, your business has revenue. That's the fuel for your engine. Your business also has costs, where some of that revenue gets burned up. And what's left over is profit. And in business, profit provides the power. The amount of profit you're producing every day, week, month, and year determines how much momentum your business has. How far is your business going to carry you? And there are so many examples I can think of when I've started a business or my friends have started a business, and the financial engine of that business hasn't been sufficient. It's kind of like in college, I bought this old minivan, but this minivan's engine was not in good shape. It needed constant oil. You had to fill it up with oil almost every day. It was also leaking antifreeze. It would often need a boost, especially if it was too cold out. Many times I drove it to school in the Canadian winter and then had to get a tow truck to come and boost me just so I could get it back home. And I think that feeling of anxiety and running around and trying to keep things running and, trying to keep enough oil in the tank and trying to just keep an engine that's not very healthy running is so similar to running a small business where the financial engine of the company is just not running well. I had a similar experience when I started this retail store, this skateboard, snowboard shop, especially near the end when we were starting to get frantic. We were realizing there wasn't enough revenue coming in the door. And so we just started adding all sorts of things on top of the business, flailing, trying to keep the business afloat. We built a skateboard ramp inside the store and tried to get people to pay to ride the ramp. We tried to get into product distribution. So we became not only a retail store, but a distributor. We tried to start making our own clothing. We brought in all sorts of new brands that we thought might, generate more sales. We started a magazine. We tried to start creating strategic partnerships with other local businesses. We created this whole shop local movement. We started running skateboard contests. It was just like thing after thing. And it felt very similar to me trying to keep that old vehicle engine running, filling it up with oil and antifreeze and boosting it. And the feeling of flailing and thrashing and trying to keep this thing going was so similar. I think if we're pursuing a calm business, we can't have businesses that have a financial engine that just isn't working well. And I think the most difficult part of this as a business owner is recognizing when your financial engine is not working well and then admitting it. I think the best advice I can give you is if your business has a weak financial engine, it's not giving you the financial margin that you need to have a good life, then it's time to leave that business behind. And there's no shame in moving on from a business with a weak financial engine. There's no shame in that. And once your financial engine is running, it should feel like a money machine. It should feel like the engine is consistently and reliably producing profits for the owner. Not that it should always feel easy, but I believe a healthy business doesn't feel like a grind every day. And if you're coming home every day and you're just wasted from having to crank this engine and keep it going and keep all the plates in the air and keep all the employees paid and do all the things, and you're not getting a commensurate amount of benefit back, like you're not paying yourself very well, you're not getting profit distributions, you're not able to take lots of time off, it might be time to look at a different business. For example, in the current business I'm running, Transistor.fm, which is a podcast hosting platform, so a software company, my partner and I, John, it took us about 1.5 years of cranking that engine before it was producing enough revenue for us to both have a pretty good salary. And even then, that in retrospect, that happened pretty quickly. It's 1 year from launch to full time. But at the time, we were struggling. Like we were cranking that engine, just like, when's this thing gonna start running? Because we were tired and getting burnt out. But I think we'd learned enough by that point that if we had not gotten to 30, 40K in MRR by, 1 year or 2 after launch, I think we would have ejected pretty quick and switched to something else. 1.5 years, 2 years, I'm not sure about 3 years, but 1 to 3 years, we'll say, 3 years max, is a reasonable amount of time for you to be cranking that engine, working hard, grinding, all of the things that we equate to entrepreneurship. But if it's been longer than, let's say 3 years, but even 3 years is a little bit too long. If it's been longer than 3 years and you still go to work every day and you still feel like you're cranking this engine, trying to get the engine going, trying to get some money out of this machine, and it's still not working, and your bills are stacking up and your credit cards are maxed out and you have a line of credit and you're just stressed about money all the time, it's time to move on. There are small independent businesses you can start that have a healthy financial engine, that produce healthy profit margins, that don't require just superhuman effort every single day to make them work. Eventually, your business should pay you back for all of that risk and effort and investment that you put into it. And my worry for so many entrepreneurs is that they're investing all of this time and energy and money, and the business isn't paying them back anything because the financial engine of that business is just never going to work. So the natural question is, how do I find a business with a healthy financial engine? Now, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I think the first key, the first principle is you have to be willing to let go of businesses that aren't working. The best thing I did when I owned my retail shop and it wasn't working is I went to a mentor and I was stressed, bills everywhere. We had just been audited. Our bank loan is coming due. All of our suppliers are over here. We've got employees that need to be paid, and everything seems to be falling apart. And we've been cranking on this forever. And my mentor said, listen, this business isn't working and you've just got to move on. Don't spend another 3 years trying to make this work. It's just not going to work. It's time to move on. And we had given it a good effort, and that was the best advice he could have given me at that point. So, first principle, move on from bad business ideas. Number 2, look for businesses with healthy profit margins. So, if your profit margin is 10%, that's also your margin for error, meaning you order the wrong thing, you overpay a supplier, you have an unexpected expense, your margin for error is in that 10%. But if your margins are 30% or 50%, or in the software business, you get margins in the 80 to 90%, you have a higher margin for error as well. So if something unexpected happens, but your margins are 70%, well, it's a lot easier to still make a profit. And this profit margin is also the margin that's going to give you a better life. Out of that profit margin, you're going to be able to pay yourself really well. You're going to be able to give yourself dividends. You're going to be able to hire people and take time off. So if you can, look for businesses, industries, categories where there's the potential for high profit margins. Number 3, look for business opportunities where you don't need to be a superhuman, where you don't need to be on all the time, where you don't need to be in constant hustle mode. I think all of us business owners can identify with this feeling of, I'm just going to make this happen with my own sweat and effort and energy. I'm going to lift up this business and make it work. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to work extra hours. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And again, you need some of that energy at the beginning of any enterprise. But it's seductive. Once you get on that hamster wheel, once you get in the habit of cranking that engine just to make it run, you're never going to find the margin you need to have a good life. So you need to look for opportunities where, yes, it might take some energy to get it going, but once it's going, it's like a flywheel where you crank it and the energy from you cranking it produces its own momentum, and the business can run without your constant effort and presence. You want a business where you can step away and take a vacation, step away and have evenings and weekends, step away and still be making money while you sleep or while you're away from the business. And then 4th, I would really encourage you to think about building things that people want and are already searching for. It's going to take some work at the beginning, but I think most of any entrepreneurial success has to do with the market. It's the market you choose. And when I say market, I mean, how many people are out there in the world searching for this right now? How many people are out in the world buying this right now or something similar? How much pent-up demand or how much latent demand is there for this thing? Instead of always trying to push your products and services on customers and you're just always trying to promote yourself and push, you want a situation where customers are coming to you, where customers are already actively searching for a solution. They're already actively paying for a solution and they need either an alternative or something better. They're already in motion. And that's going to mean you won't have to spend as much energy going out and trying to find customers. Instead, the customers are coming to you. They're showing up at your door. If this video resonated with you, this idea of having a strong financial engine, I'd love to hear your thoughts or your story in the comments below. Thanks. Thanks for watching that video. If you do one thing for me, I'd love for you to go sign up for my newsletter, justinjackson.ca/newsletter.